pocket. I try to let a few doors walk, but that freezer runs low, I gotta stock it. These scrub bucks got no mask, darn sure no drop times, but this chili has deer burger in it tonight.
Where did this podcast go? Straight to hell. Yeah, speaking of hell, check out East Coast Bowhunting Podcast.
Fantastic.
First of all, I'm addicted to the show.
I like that. That's cool. Okay. Whole more hunt. You live it, you breathe it.
It's a whole different world.
This East Coast has a little bit more of an edge and a grind to it.
You guys are fucking awesome. I want to feel like I'm just hanging with the boys.
But I actually saw Jesus.
Where we're at now, we're insane.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
I just want to get the realest people possible in the industry.
You know, if you're not pissing people off, you're not doing it right.
Welcome back yet to another episode of the East Coast Bowhunting Podcast. We're here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania at the Great American Outdoor Expo show. And we're here with Adam Parr from Quiet Cat. How you doing, Adam?
Doing well, guys. How are you?
Really good, really good. This show is brought to you by Shabine Brewing, CT's finest beer, the Hunter's Beer, 100 Demons, East Coast Hardcore Music, known worldwide, Trev's Euros on Facebook, Ethics Archery. Use promo code East Coast 10 for 10% off. Nor'easter Game Calls. Get them in close. And this show is presented by Working Class Bowhunter, the brand in the hunting industry. How you doing, Trev?
Doing good, feeling good.
Hell yeah. So we're here with Adam Parr from Quiet Cat. I mean, let's cut right into it, man. Who are you? Where are you from? And where can we find you?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Michigan. I started working for Quiet Cat about 4 years ago. So I'm a Michigan boy, moved to Colorado, and we're located in Eagle. So if you're not familiar with Colorado, we're about 2 hours west of Denver. So we're up in the mountains. It's a really good spot to be. You got hunting, fishing, snowboarding, skiing, everything around. So Quiet Cat, we're an electric bike manufacturer. We're located in, like I said, right in Eagle, right past Vail, and we make bikes for hunters. Lets you access quickly, quietly, scent-free, and pretty much go wherever you want to go. More portable, more maneuverable, and lightweight, and obviously quiet. So pretty cool.
That's badass. So
Yeah.
What exactly is your position for Quiet Cat?
So I'm the VP of sales. So I've been working for the company, like I said, almost 4 years. And so mainly my day-to-day is kind of more managing our bigger accounts. I work with Cabela's, Bass Pro, a lot of the larger retailers. But I still have my part in a little bit of the marketing side, but pretty much it's just day-to-day sales. So it's a lot of fun, especially getting going to all these shows, seeing everybody. It's cool to talk with all of our customers, talk with all of our dealers, and have a good time.
Oh yeah. So, what surprised you the most so far today, as far as the people here?
Man, we've been doing this is our third year doing the show, and I can tell you it's the busiest one that we do. What's cool about this is everybody's coming here to they want to buy stuff, right? You see everybody walking around with bags of stuff, and it's no different with our bikes. I mean, we're a higher price point. I mean, we have bikes starting at $2,400 and go all the way up to $6,000, and there's people showing up to the booth and buying them. So we sold 3 or 4 bikes today here just at the booth. So it's a good time. Everybody in Pennsylvania is really cool, and Pennsylvania is probably our biggest market. I mean, as far as sales, I mean, more hunters probably than anywhere in the country per capita, and you got a lot of public land, you got a lot of steep terrain, so the bikes really make sense here.
That's awesome. What are you sipping on right there? What do you got in your hands?
I don't know. I got some sponsor beer here. It's got an alpaca on it with some sunglasses.
That's Alpaca Blanca from Shabine.
That's nice, man. That's really good.
Hell yeah!
I'll have to try the next one here in a bit.
Yeah, we brought a cooler full.
See if I can kill this tall boy here and then move on to another flavor.
You got to be careful with Shabine, though.
Yeah, what's the ABV on this? Are we rocking 8% or what?
I don't think it's quite that high, but I think it's right around 7, if I'm not mistaken.
6.5.
Oh, I overshot it a bit.
I want that extra 0.5%.
There's another one in the cooler. So let's cut into it. Quiet Cat. What was the main focus or the goal for the company?
So we started out, I don't know if you guys are too familiar with us or not, but we started out in 2014, we started selling an electric ATV as a trike model. So really that was the answer to a more portable version of like a bad boy buggy, right? So instead of a golf cart or an electric four-wheeler, this was 120 pounds. You could fold the steering column down and you could fit it in the back of your SUV. And so we came to market with that as really the better mousetrap to a bad boy buggy. Still quiet, all electric, but full throttle, so no pedaling, no anything. So in 2016, we launched the bikes. And, same concepts. It's a way to access quicker, quieter, scent-free. But with the bikes, it brought the price down by about half. And it opens up a whole market of not only just hunters, but people riding bikes for recreation, for camping, for fishing, for we're working with police departments and law enforcement agencies to patrol on our bikes. So it opened up a whole new market, and so we really just started with that. Obviously, the hunting side is really our bread and butter, and that's our biggest market base. But we get stories all the time from people that come up to our booth, and it's like, well, you guys have allowed me to stay active in the outdoors. You've allowed me to continue riding my bike. You've allowed me to still go to my tree stand and have a good hunt, So that stuff makes you feel good, and that's the whole concept, is to provide a means of quiet, portable transportation to the outdoors in off-road environments, and that's really who we are.
That's really cool, man, and it definitely brings a different spectrum to the hunting game. Like you mentioned earlier, you get to travel further distance and quietly. I know me personally, I rock my 4x4 in and get where I need to, but I always stop about 2 miles prior and get boots on the ground so I don't spook anything out. That being said, what different models do you have, or how many different models do you have, and what are the price ranges of them, and what do they offer? Like, what are the differences?
Yeah. So for this year, we've got a really wide lineup. We've got actually 12 different bike models and one of our trike models, and like I said earlier, they start at $2,400 and go up to $6,000. Now the $2,400 we actually don't have in the booth, but right behind you is the Ranger 750, and that one's $2,700 retail. Great bike. It's still expensive, but for an e-bike, it's a great value. And the big thing with that, why it makes the price come down, quite a bit, is that it's got a hub motor. So there's two different types of motors in the e-bike world. This one's a hub motor. It's located in the rear wheel. If you jump up to what's called a mid-drive, like on that bike there, that's the Warrior 1000. The mid-drives just have more torque, more climbing capability. So if you got a lot of terrain, a lot of hills, you're climbing mountains in the west, I'd rather see you in a mid-drive. So that's the big difference. So the Ranger and the Rover are like our starting entry levels that are in the mid-2000s, and then we jump up to the mid-drive bikes, which bring you up into about $3,800, and then we got some high-end bikes that are mid-4s, and then our full suspensions that are mid-5s. So the one down at the end, at the very end, that's a full suspension bike, so it's got front and rear suspension, and high-end brakes, high-end components, so that's where you really bring the big money right there.
Yeah. So how long do these batteries last?
So typically you get about 20 miles per charge, and what we base that off of is a 200-pound rider, flat terrain, medium power level. So you got 5 different power settings. You can choose between power 1 and power 5, and but that's throttle only, so no pedaling. You can get about 20 miles per charge, and that's off our stock battery. So our stock battery is an 11.6 amp hour pack. You can go to a 14, a 17, and a 21 amp hour, and bring that range all the way up to 35 miles per charge.
Wow.
Now, if you're pedaling, we get the question all the time, does it regenerate your power? Like, does braking, does pedaling help regenerate the power? It does not, but it helps conserve the battery, so the motor's not having to work as hard. So you can extend that range. So, in a hunting scenario, I'm constantly, hitting the throttle, and then I'm going to pedaling, and I'm changing power settings, I'm changing gears. So it's kind of tough to say the exact mileage you'll get for your property or where you're using it at. There's a lot of variables: rider weight, terrain, tire pressure, how cold it is outside. All that stuff makes a big difference. So, we use high quality Panasonic lithium-ion packs, and there's really no maintenance, and they got great runtime.
And the nice thing about lithium-ion packs is actually they maintain full power even at a lower setting once they're getting to the lower capacity of power.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like a AGM, like a bad boy buggy, you'll start to get that lag. You'll start to feel the power kind of start coming down quite significantly. Where you're right, D-Rock, those packs will run full charge right up until they're dead.
That's pretty badass, man.
That's awesome.
It definitely brings a whole different spectrum to the hunting game.
Yeah.
And I see you have different accessories too available for these bikes. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. So some of the most everybody picks up the front and rear fender set. So a fender for the front, fender for the rear. It's going to keep the mud and the water from spraying up on you. Then we have a rear rack.
They did that on purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
Then we've got a pannier rack, so that's mounts over the rear tire. It's great to strap your pack on there. You can put different clamps, put different accessories on there.
Wild edge steps.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then we make a pannier bag set, so like saddle bags that clamp onto those. That's where I carry my bow. So I'll stick my bow in that pannier bag with the fletching sticking up. I'll strap it and cinch it down so it's tight. And then the other bag I'll throw like trail cameras, a toolkit, maybe other accessories on there. And then for another accessory, it's pretty popular is our headlight. So it's a red and a white LED. So you're getting closer to your stand, right? You can flip it over to the red. If you're just cruising down a back road or something, you're not really getting in tight to your stand location, you can run the LED brighter light. So those are the main accessories, and then we also have our cargo trailer. It's great to throw stands on,
Carry your beer.
Yeah. Carry a keg of beer, a case of beer, whatever you want to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's a pretty popular accessory item too. And then later this summer, we're coming out with a 2-wheel cart. So you'll see on that
for
one.
For your deer?
Exactly.
Hell
that
yeah.
one's for beer. The one we're coming out with this summer is for deer. Yep.
That's awesome. So in the future, to touch back on what you're saying, pedaling doesn't regenerate the power, but do we see that in the future? Maybe sticking a generator in the crank of the pedals?
Yeah, that technology is already out right now. It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense from a price point. It adds weight, and then the technology isn't advanced enough where you're getting a ton back out of it. Like these electric cars, there is that regen braking system in there, but you're talking like huge battery packs. So if you get 10% back on a really large amp hour pack, you're going to add 20 miles, let's say, to a charge. With ours being relatively small, it's a smaller product, you might only get 1 or 2 miles back out of it, which is okay. But at the same time, it's not ideal to be constantly charging and putting it on a charge, off a charge. They're lithium-ion batteries, so they can definitely handle that. But there is a number of rated charge cycles that will, extend its lifetime or keep its lifetime, at that charge cycle rating. So you don't always want to be plugging it in all the time if you can help it.
Nice.
Now, do you touch, is there problems with certain states and certain laws with having the bikes?
Yeah, so that's the whole crazy thing.
That's a good question.
There's a little bit of Wild West going on right now because it is new technology, right? But the overall general consensus and how everything's kind of leaning here in the U.S. is if you have a 750-watt bike, it has working pedals and goes 20 miles an hour or less, it's classified as non-motorized. So therefore, it's deemed as a normal bicycle. Now, that's federal law. So below that, you have different state regulations. There's different land. Just here in Pennsylvania, you have game lands and you have state forests and you have state parks. All are public lands, but they're managed differently, right? So for example, here in Pennsylvania, state forests, state parks, they allow up to 750 watts on public areas. But when it comes to game lands, they don't allow any e-bikes currently. It doesn't matter if it's 100 watts or 1,000 watts.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I can't believe it.
I had that feeling that because there's everything that comes out in the industry, it just seems like there's always some type of law that hinders
or some
it.
discrepancy. Yeah.
It's going to come around full circle. I mean, as more momentum that this catches on, I mean, you're going to have a lot more people using them. What's going to happen is something's going to end up in court. Some guy's going to get a ticket for using it on a public land area, and he's going to go fight it, and that's what it's going to take to really change that legislation.
It's going to supersede as a federal law. And it's going to
hopefully. Like Maryland, for example, they allow up to 750 watts on all their state lands, as far as I'm aware. From what I've heard, the game lands here, the Game Commission is supposed to make a new ruling on it this summer to hopefully change that law. So we'll see.
That's insane, because you'd figure they'd have stricter laws on anything gas-powered, and here we are being eco-friendly and better for the environment, and they're just putting more restrictions on it.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just the kind of misconception of like, oh, an e-bike is motorized and it's powerful. That means it's going to be loud. That means it's going to be disturbing. That means it's going to tear up the ground. When in retrospect, it's not the case. So there's been a number of disturbance studies and, kind of like just general data collection on e-bikes and regular bikes, and there's no more impact than normal bikes. So we'll see it come full circle. Now, if you're hunting out west, you got to watch it as well. But U.S. Forest Service and BLM, they still consider them motorized. Hopefully, that will be changed as well. So we'll see. It's kind of a shame sometimes, because you got people that it could really. I mean, in our sport here, our lifestyle of hunting, I mean, numbers are on the decline, right? I mean, any way we can allow people to access and have a more enjoyable hunt, I mean, why not? It's only better for all of us. It's more money coming into the industry. It's more money that ultimately leads back to conservation and, bettering the animals, which is all what it's all about, right?
Hell yeah. And I mean, all over TV, Sportsman Channel, Outdoor Channel, you're seeing all the big names using Quiet Cat. So
yeah,
if they're using it, it must be working,
Exactly. Yeah, we work with Jim Shockey. He's got a couple of our bikes. Greg Ritz, Whitetail Freaks, Don and Candy, Kyle Weeder of Adrenaline. So yeah, we got a lot of good guys using our bikes, and there's a lot of guys out there that are just average Joes like us that are out there getting it done on public land and using it every day, and they're having a blast. So that's really what it's all about, having fun, right?
Nice. Yeah, I agree. Hey, man, you're a little too fluid on this. So why is that? You have some podcast experience or what?
I do, man. I have my own podcast. When I moved out to Colorado. So I'm originally from Michigan, like I said. Moved out to Colorado to work for Quiet Cat, and at that same time, I'd always kind of wanted to start my own blog and, kind of hunting, outdoor, website, basically. So when I moved out there, I mean, obviously hunting in the West is way different than hunting in the, farm fields of Michigan, right? So when I got there, I started chasing elk, mule deer, and I just wanted to, try to showcase my experiences. And I started out as really just to, document my hunts, right? Almost like a journal, right? And then as you learn the West and you start hunting, you can start offering tips on strategies and all that stuff. So the blog kind of morphed into a podcast, and it's called Transition Wild. TransitionWild.com. You can check it out, and it's basically a big game podcast that I release twice a month. I don't put out the near numbers as you guys, but I have a fun time,
We're nothing compared to Working Class Bowhunter, our title sponsor. They're really killing it right now. I mean, they just recently had episodes with Aaron Lewis and big country singer. I'm sure you're well aware.
Yep, I know Aaron.
And Bone Collector Crew with Waddell, Nick Munt,
cool.
and T-Bone. So, I mean, they're doing it too. And the fact that they're a podcast, title sponsoring another podcast, I mean, that's something you said right there. So.
Yeah. No, I've actually never met those guys. I know they've stopped at the ATA booth, I think, a few times, but I've never actually met the guys. But I know a lot of people who know them, and I've listened to their podcast a few times. Yeah, they're
a fun bunch.
Yeah, for sure.
I know them personally, and they're family, and not for nothing, but I'm a product of them. So
nice.
Yeah,
nice.
So if you want to get in touch with them, I know some people
for sure. How long have you guys been doing this? You guys just start this up recently?
Yep, opening day
Cool.
for Connecticut season, September 15th.
Sweet.
So we're just trucking along, killing it, and you're going to be episode 29.
Ooh, that's my lucky number.
Oh, really?
Is it really?
No.
Come on.
No, but I just turned 30, so we're one off of that.
Oh, there you
right.
go. There you go.
Do you want us
Close
to
enough.
wait and we'll hit you up on 30?
Yeah, we could do it.
Yeah,
Make this
we'll
30.
record another one tonight, and we'll make you number 30.
Make me 30, yeah.
There you go. There you go. Nice. So is there anything else upcoming for Quiet Cat that you might be able to let us in, like the deets?
Yeah, we've always got stuff in the works. What's interesting is the technology's constantly evolving. I mean, it's just like computers, phones, any electronics, it moves so quick, right? So, as far, like I said, we got that new cart coming out. We're working on a full suspension fat tire model. So right now we only offer the full suspension in a 2.8-inch tire, so more of your traditional mountain bike, right? But this full suspension fat tire bike would be badass. It's really, and the whole concept of fat tires is that it's more stable, it's more forgiving, it's better traction in snow, sand, mud.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, like you can like blast through a mud puddle or go through a really loose beach sand and not feel like you're gonna crash on break your face off. So that's really cool, and the full suspension makes it such a nice like smooth ride. I mean, it's pricey, but it's gonna be the next kind of best thing. Pretty badass.
Awesome, man. So, I mean, is there anything else that our listeners should know about Quiet Cat to put it out there?
I mean, we're better than everybody else. We'll tell you that.
I like that.
We're the best bike out there. No, I mean, we've been around the longest in the industry for sure. We were the first to market in this kind of electric, portable vehicle, ATVs and bikes for hunters. And, you can check us out, quietcat.com. We got a ton of videos, ton of good content on there. Facebook, Instagram, we're on all that. So we try to keep consistent and put out good content. Like, we're working on a lot of short films too.
Yep.
Like there's one with Team 200, Adam Crummer, and he used the Quiet Cats last fall and killed 2 booners back-to-back sits, and he rides the bike right to the base of the stand. I mean, he goes in Illinois. He killed like a 160.
Starts climbing right off the bike.
No. So we just recently released that short film that can be found on our YouTube page. Or if you go to quietcat.com, you can check it out there. But it's a badass little 2-minute video of him shooting these 2 booners basically back-to-back nights.
All right, since we're on the subject of booners, and we talked about Quiet Cat and all that stuff, what is your favorite chase, like animal?
I have the whitetail bug for sure, just because I'm originally from Michigan. But I tell you what, since moving out to Colorado, elk is really where it's at. And what's cool, like, so this past fall, I've been you get out of work at like 5 o'clock, right? And then you're trying to get a good hunt in on the weekdays, and the sun goes down at like 8 o'clock. I mean, it takes an hour or so to like walk into a good elk spot, right? So I'd get out of work at 5, and I'd drive my truck to this parking area. I'd buzz on a Quiet Cat like 2 miles in on this little shitty, like just nasty, like 2 tracks, and it would allow me to at least have a quality hunt, because like if I didn't have the bike, there's no way I could walk there in time to get into those elk, So it's really changed the game for me, and it's just been a lot of fun using them. So I mean, that's what I recommend. But I love chasing elk, man. If you guys haven't done it, you got to get out and try it.
What's your favorite implement?
Implement?
Yeah, implement, same thing.
Like, what do you mean?
Weapon?
Like bow.
Favorite weapon?
Yeah.
Okay,
weapon.
got it. Archery for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I shoot a compound. I do own a trad bow, so I have a Hoyt Satori. I started shooting that last summer, but I have yet to kill anything with it. So I don't know. That's a whole different animal.
It's not.
there.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. It's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
So
it's not an easy thing.
You're running an elite for a compound, right?
I'm a Hoyt guy. I'm the West, man. Come on.
I was just asking.
Hey, well.
Is that what you guys shoot?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Those are good bows. I mean, today's market, you can't. There's not a bad bow out there, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can't go wrong.
It's just like Quiet Cat versus our other competitors,
Well, we know Jacob shoots an elite.
Jacob does. Oh, come on, Jacob.
Team elite.
That's the dark side, Jacob.
You know what? That's because he's from Connecticut.
That's it. He
That's
knows.
why. So I do have to ask, and while they're here, is why did they name it Quiet Cat? Why Quiet Cat?
So original slogan was built like a bull, hunts like a cat. Something that's portable, lightweight, durable, but was quiet, right? So that was kind of the concept. They came up with a name before I was involved, so I can't say exact, but that was our slogan, and it kind of makes sense,
Yep. What's the slogan now?
All terrain, all electric. So
plain and simple.
Oh yeah,
That's it.
Yep.
And on that note, stay stepping,
stay slaying.